الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة وتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون صدق الله العلي العظيم. To hasten the appearance of our 12th Imam sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa alaihi Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
My dear brothers and sisters, as we continue with this theme that has been chosen for these past few days, considering the shahawat and the urges that a human being has, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, after having talked about the different types and the limits of these shahawat and who beautifies them for a human being more so than a human being should have these shahawat or should be trying to fulfill them, we then started to talk about the ways in which a human being can control these shahawat, a human being can exercise willpower. We talked about things, among them how to stipulate, for example, al-musharata, al-muraqaba, observing a person observing themselves throughout the day. We talked about al-muhasaba, that is to say, to hold themselves accountable at the end of the day, whether they've done something positive or negative, hold themselves accountable, and you have an account or have a. After that, if a person, we said, had done something negative, one should blame themselves, their nafs, and should also, if necessary, punish or make the nafs feel some punishment, in the sense that should make it taste the sourness of obedience after having tasted the sweetness or apparent sweetness of a sin. Following that, yesterday we had started to talk about some of the positive effects of a person controlling their urges, and based upon that I had mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with regards to a person who controls their shahawat, Allah gives them al-furqan, that is to say, the ability to discern and differentiate between what is right and wrong through their mind and through their basira, their insight, their sixth and seventh senses. In addition to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yaj'al lahu makhrajan, that is to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create a solution for him. Allah azza wa jal will pull him out of extremely difficult situation, like Allah pulled out Nabi Yusuf salamullahi alayhi when he was in that really terrible position that the wife of the Grand Vizier of Egypt put him in. In addition to that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we also said, facilitates and makes the person's affairs easy. These are some of the things that are related, some of the positive effects related to this dunya. Of course, there are others as well that I will talk about today. In addition to this, with regards to the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He grants them al-Jannah, and He does not specify, He does not say Jannat Adan, nor does He say Jannat al-Firdaus or any al-Jannah, that is to say Jannah. You can choose from it wherever you wish. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives to that person. But as we continue, there was one thing that I mentioned, the fact that a person, when they exercise this control over their nafs, they start to feel a feeling, which is that they feel a sense of ghina, that is to say, self-sufficiency. In explaining this more, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with regards to that person who follows his shahawat, follows his urges, He always feels that I am in need of doing something in order to please myself, in order to realize myself. I must, for example, make this much amount of money, otherwise I will not be fulfilled. My needs, they want, or my necessities, my heart, I won't be pleased, I won't be happy. Or for instance, I have to try to reach this particular level at work or in the society, among the community, etc. Otherwise, no, I feel that I don't have any position. I don't have any. This is called ibadat al-shahwa. That is to say, to worship your whims and your urges. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for he who connects his nafs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yani your goal is Allah. Your goal is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With regards to that person, Allah puts ghina in his nafs for him. What does this ghina mean? In order to explain it just a little bit in really simple terms. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him a feeling in his nafs that I don't need money or these characteristics, these fantasy of characteristics in my, for example, whoever I want to marry, for example. Unfortunately, this is a problem. And they come to me, Molana, I'm looking, sometimes either the parents will come, or the brother or the sister, Molana, I'm looking to get married. Khair, inshallah. May Allah Azza wa Jal make things easy for you. What are you looking for? The bank account has to be this much. The degrees have to be this much. His looks and his charms, he should have an Instagram channel. And he should be a model, and he should have at least 30,000 followers. And you're looking for Prince Charming is in fantasy world. This is the dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything, and you are pulling yourself out from reality. With regards to a mu'min, he feels that, to me for instance, when I am looking for my ideal spouse, the very first quality is the quality of iman. After that, I look at everything else. I look at how practicing she is, her family, etc. She's educated, she's not educated, etc. After that, I look at her. This sense that I need her to be this, I need him to be 1, 2, 3, for instance. I need to have that much. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes that away from your nafs. What do you feel? You feel that I don't need all of this in order to be happy in my life. This is called the sense of ghina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it to a person who controls their urges. They understand that, to me, I need Allah. I don't need pounds. If we go to the great Arif, the political Arif of our time, of the last century, Imam Khomeini radhiyallahu ta'ala alayh, he mentions quite a few positive effects of a person following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed and stays away from their shahawat. And I will mention them. I'll mention as many as time allows me. So first, one of the things that he starts to mention, he says that no, alam, or the world, that it is divided into different planes of existence. 3 main. The world of the soul is alam al-jabarut. That is the level of the soul at the highest level. That soul which does not have any connection to matter. Second is alam al-malakut. The soul, it has connection to both the higher world and the lower world. Then you have alam al-mulk, the world of physical matter, the corporeal realm, as it is translated in many books. But when you do isti'adha, of course you know that Arafah, when they try to explain different concepts, they use the Arfani lingo. So they say, Imam Khomeini says, that if your apparent mulk and corporeal realm, your realm, if you are sincere in it, and you are trying to be a true human being, and you control the armies, he says, and he uses this metaphor, you control the armies of your apparent dunya, which are the different faculties that you have. The faculty, for example, or the urge to eat, the urge, for example, to have physical relation, the urge to have a position in life, the urge to have money, sons, etc., and all of these. Imam Khomeini says that if you control these 7 realms of this corporeal dunya, of this world, of alam al-mulk, of your alam al-mulk. What are these 7? These are your your eyesight, if you control your tongue, your hearing, your stomach, your physical private parts, your hand and your feet, if you control them from the dirt and the filthiness of sinning, and you put these under the control and the whispering, the blessed and nurani whispering of the angels who try to pull you towards Allah and to alam al-malakut, then even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will start to work in the realm, in your realm, the realm of your nafs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. These angels and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're whispering, they're guiding, them guiding you will help you reach that level where you do not commit any mistakes, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, or you will abide by the orders of Allah. What is this? This is the first level of al-isti'adah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. This, for you to take control of these 7 realms, of these 7 senses, if I were to say, of this mulk realm of you as a human being, and you put them under the control and the whisperings and the suggestions and the guidance of Allah and His angels, and you will take them away from the control of Iblis and his army and his soldiers. Based upon that, you will have taken your nafs to the first level of practical A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem. Then what happens? Then Shaitan slowly, he will pull himself, Shaitan will pull himself and his soldiers away from your apparent mulki realm, and then he will go to your inner realm, your soul and your nafs. And this is where Jihad al-Akbar properly starts. So, what is the first positive effect? The first positive effect is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will help you be able to listen to the whisperings of the angels. Do this, the inspiration of the angels. Do this in your life sometimes. And I'm sure everybody has felt this sometimes. You feel that sometimes there's something just pulling you. Do this, you must do this. Correct? And after doing it, you find out, oh my God, I really thank Allah that I did this. If I had not done this, I would have fallen, for example, in such and such situation. Allah guided me. Correct or not?
Yeah.
These are the inspirations of the angels. But among the positive effects is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He casts that divine light into your heart. The light of divine beauty. You will start to be attracted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will practically feel Allah. And when Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he says, in response to that Jewish person who asked Imam Ali alayhi salam, how do you, I believe he was a Jewish person, how do you worship a God that you cannot see? Imam Ali alayhi salam said, how is it possible for me to worship a God that I don't see? I see Him. How do you see Him? He's not visible. He says, I see Him with the light of my eyes, with the insight and the light of my heart. That's how I see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, this is very, very simple and very oversimplified by Imam alayhi salam, according to the level of understanding of that person. Our Imams, Ma'sumin, Awliya Allah, they see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are attracted to it. Allah does exist. I mean, He has an entity. He has His existence. You can feel Him, you can perceive Him, you can feel these inspirations from Allah speaking and casting His light in a person's heart. It's not that when we say that worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also find pleasure in ibadah, it's not something that you just have to force your mind mentally, I must feel good when I pray, or I must hold the birds of my thoughts when I pray because it keeps on flapping away. I have to smack it down so that I can concentrate during salah. Right? I must either focus on the meanings or... No, that's not the case. When you're attracted to the beauty of Allah, when you see Him, just like you see people, when you see Him with your heart, and this is the capability that a human being has, a human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be casting that light in his heart, and As he casts that light in the person's heart, the darknesses, al-dhulumat, they slowly start to go away. And an allusion to this, Imam Khomeini says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَنْ يَقْتَرِفْ حَسَنَةً, he who performs a good deed, نَزِدْ لَهُ فِيهَا حُسْنًا, we will increase the goodness of that good deed. We will enhance it more. إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is of forgiving, and He is also of thanking to a person. So whatever good thing you do, Allah will enhance it for you. Among the things is that a person, they will slowly start to take pleasure in some of the sourness of ibadah, of carrying out the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi wa. So one of the narrations, our Imam says that I take pleasure, I feel happy when I suppress my anger. I feel happy when I suppress my anger. With regards to certain things, certain events, of course not suppressing anger that is necessary for the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in essence he is taking control of his nafs. Among the positive effects is the fact that we mentioned that one of the urges is maqam, is the position that a person can have, correct? But with regards to a person who has done tahdib al-nafs, who purifies himself, who does not listen blindly to these urges, one of the things is that if you attain a certain position, you will not be affected by the position. In the society, you must have seen certain people, when they reach the places of influence, when they reach places of influence and power, you find that this person, oh my God, look at him, he's changed. Correct or not? He's not the same person that I knew. I used to go to school with him, for instance. We used to be friends, or I used to know this person. Look at him, now he's become proud, he's become this and that. Position can be a place in the community, can be a political, whatever position. It can also be that you have reached somewhere in your life, but you find that this person changes. Whereas others, they do not. Among the effects is that the material life, it will not affect the soul of that person a lot. If you look at the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the Islamic State was formed, the Holy Prophet had so much under his control, and he could have changed, he could have shown signs of kingdom, of a ruler trying to have that, and he tried to be higher than his normal people or the Muslims, etc. You did not find that difference in the Prophet. Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi, when he was the Khalifa, his food would be simpler than his own slaves and his own servants. His food would be simpler than beggars. This was Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi. He did not change after becoming the Khalifa of the Muslims. On the contrary, he said that I cannot sleep if I know that there is a single hungry person in Kufa. A single hungry person. Among the positive effects is that your soul, it will not be under the confines, the constraints of your nafs anymore. You stay away from your urges, and you fulfill them according to what is halal. Now, there's something necessary to point out. When I say that a person should abstain from their urges, I mean the haram way. The haram way. You want money, you take a taser, you go over there to the bank and you stand in line and you say, you have £10 in your account, you say, I'll take a little bit more as well today. No. Stay away from that which is haram. And with that which is halal, don't become attached to it. Do not become attached to it. So a person, when he reaches that level, when he fights these the nafs, etc., what will happen is that they will become free. I don't need this to feel that I am complete, realizing myself. I want to complete myself. I want to achieve something, but in positive ways. with regards to not caring for any situation or any positions that the person can attain in this dunya, Imam Khomeini mentions a really beautiful example of a personality by the name of Ayatollah Mudarris. Ayatollah Mudarris, during the time of Rida Shah, and not Muhammad Rida Shah, Rida Shah, after the Qajari dynasty was overthrown due to British espionage, and the people over there, they started to uprise in Iran, and after that Rida Shah was brought in the beginning as the Prime Minister. After that, due to a British coup again, what they did is that they installed him as king. And then the people uprose again, so the British came and they removed him, and after a while they put his son back in control. And now when the Islamic Revolution happened and they removed even this final Muhammad al-Dashan, the British, then they found that the Iranian people right now, the Muslims over there, they are actually aware. So that's when they became evil. Before, when British Petroleum was just siphoning whatever they wanted from Iran for free, or almost free, without proper gains to the Iranian people, to the profits to them, they were considered to be some of their best friends. Now, Ayatollah Mudarris, he was from the Hawza. He was a mujtahid to start with, and he was also a parliamentary member. He was one of those people who believe that religion and politics are not separate. They are just like during the time of Imam alayhi salam and the time of the Holy Prophets, the Imams to follow, they are one and the same. It is not that because of the fact that Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, due to circumstantial reasons, he did not directly take part in politics directly during the time of the Abbasids, and he was actually focusing on something which is more of a priority. Based upon that, it means that ulama should stay away from, and Hawza should stay away from politics. His view was that view. He should go in the parliament. He used to take part. Imam Khomeini, he used to go to the parliamentary sittings like over here in the House of Parliament. You can go, you can sit upstairs in the lobby, you can have a look at how the House of Parliament deals, etc., how the House of Commons deals with different affairs, etc. Imam Khomeini used to go. Now during this time, Rida Shah was still the Prime Minister. So a funny event happened, and this was the personality of Ayatollah Mudarris. He did not care that I am the MP, I am an MP, or I am not, what's going to happen. Rida Shah during this time, he was wiping out all opposition. And he literally, wiping out means killing. Alright? He was wiping out everybody. And there was the threat, there was danger to his life, the life of Ayatollah Mudarris. So one of the parliamentary peers, or somebody came to Ayatollah Mudarris, he tells him that I have sent this letter, or I have sent this request, or whatever it is, to the Al-Adliya, the judiciary. Now in Iran during that time, they also use many Arabic words, but in Farsi, Ayn is not pronounced. They pronounce it as an alif. Okay? So when they write, if a person does not know what is written, they may make a mistake between Ayn and alif. So Ayatollah Mudarris, what happens is that this person comes to him. He tells him, what the meaning of it is that, please take it now to Rida Shah. Ayatollah Mudarris looks at the person. He tells him, me, an alim, a mujtahid, one of the leaders of the Muslim world, me should take this paper to Rida Shah, who does not know the difference but whether Adliya is written with an Ayn or an Alif. Me take it to him. And he did not care if this would lead to any physical threat to him. Another even funnier incident is that one time, now I think this was after Rida Shah had taken control of, and he had been installed as the king of Iran during that time. Once he came to the parliament again. Now Ayatollah Mudarris was there as well. So they had brought some of his people, and they were chanting, "Long live Rida Shah, long live Rida Shah." Ayatollah Mudarris turned and he looked at that person who was shouting this chant, and he said, "Long live me, death to him." He said, "Long live me." Long live me, death to him. Why should he live? Right? What's he so special? What makes him so special? So he did not care about his position. He is there to serve. Whether he's able to serve, he's not able to serve, and everything. But among the positive effects is that a person who does this tazkiyat al-nafs, and he tries to control the urges and the desires and the whims, especially hubb al-dunya, hubb al-mal, When you put them in any position, when they have to work in a team especially, what happens is that there are no differences anymore, and you will not find any quarrels. Why? Because if the persons working in that team have this quality in them, and this is especially important for the brothers who take part in the community and work, they have different positions. So when they work together, their main goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to designate and to know, discern what is haqq, what needs to be done, what has interest and what does not. But sincerity is in their hearts. If you are to put all of the prophets and all of the awliya, all of the ma'asumeen in one city, you will not find them quarreling. Because all of them, they have done this, tahdib al-nafs. Among the positive effects is that a person, they will follow what is truth and they will stay away from what is batil. Why is that? Because of the fact that that thing which is continually whispering to you, do this thing, and you do this wrong thing, do this batil, you have controlled, you have exercised the control of your aql over it. The way to exercise that control, I mentioned it before. So you have controlled your aql. As a result, you will not be affected. You will not follow batil over haqq. Even if that may lead, and this reaches certain stages where people are ready to give their lives for their iman. Ashab al-Kahf, you know those story, correct? Ashab al-Kahf, this story, it happened after the elevation of Nabi Isa alayhi salam by a few decades, maybe a century or something. And what had happened is that during that time, Rome was still pagan and they were still polytheists. They used to believe in idols and worship idols, and they used to consider the emperor to be embodiment of God, of one of their gods. The problem that they were facing, and because of the fact that there was a central government in that city in Jordan, there was a central government, and that government was built on an army, and it was a military state, built on legions. The Roman legions, they're very well known. It was very difficult for them to show their iman. But because of the fact that they believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they did not stop and they showed their iman, even though they were forced to leave their lives behind. Their families, their children, their wives, etc. They were forced to leave them. And they passed away when they were sleeping. But regardless, it was all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Among the positive effects is that your physical strength, it will increase. By controlling your urges, your physical strength will increase. Part of this is natural, is based on medicine, physics, or physical principles related to the body, the human body. Part of it is spiritual. I'll start with the first. That when you are able to control your love of food and eating, you may have, in that situation, okay, you're really craving for a donut, you may have one. You don't control yourself, you'll have 2, 3, 4 donuts from breads. You'll say, okay, cookies are looking nice as well today, mashallah, the smell is really fresh today. I had that chocolate chip cookie, I should have another in as well, let me try. What do you have? What's new today? Okay? That this, what is it going to lead to? You're going to have a sugar rush, you're going to have problems, you've got diabetes. If you don't have diabetes, it's going to lead to diabetes later on. Right? You're going to live a life of illness. So this is the first level. Secondly, is actually spiritual. Because of the fact that when your soul, it takes control of your alam al-mulk, your apparent realm, your body, your whims, your desires, your urges. When your soul takes control of it, it can do, it can act and perform things in this dunya, through this body, that show the power of that world. Amir al-Mu'minin salamullahi alayhi. When he was asked, how were you able to lift the door of Khaybar? Right? How were you able to lift the door of Khaybar? According to certain narrations, 10 people were not able to budge it. Not lift it, budge it. Imam Ali took it out and used it as a shield. He used it as a shield. Not that he moved it just a little bit. He used it as a shield and he was fighting with the other sword. Imam Sallallahu Alaihi, when he responded to them, and according to other narrations, 40 people were not able to budge it. How were you able to actually move it? He told them this was through divine strength, through the strength that I received from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This strength, it trickled down to his body, and he was able to move that. If you go to Masjid Buratha, who has been to Masjid Buratha? Huh? In Masjid Buratha, there is a huge rock. It seems to be a meteorite. And during one of his battles of Amir al-Mu'minin Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I think it was the Battle of Nahrawan, Battle of Jamal, as the Imam Alayhi Salam was coming back with his army, there was no water. They wanted water. Imam Sallallahu Alaihi, what he did is that he told them there is water under this, if I remember the story correctly. There's water under this rock. A huge number of the Muslims of his army, they tried to budge it, they tried to move it just a little bit so that the spring could gush forth. They weren't able to do anything. Imam Sallallahu Alaihi, with his foot, just moved it like that, just kicked it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He just moved it with his foot. And this is recorded. If you go to Masjid Buratha in Baghdad, you'll find this, you will even see the rock itself. It's actually a meteorite. It's a metal type of meteorite. It's not a rock meteorite. It's a metal type of meteorite, which is very heavy. And this rock itself, it also, through a miracle, it's also more shahada to the fact that the Imam Sallallahu Alaihi, he is the wasi of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. But all of this is through what? Spiritual strength. If you go to others as well, this is the Islamic world, correct? Go to the Eastern world. In the Eastern world, they also try to act by tahdib al-nafs, quote unquote, purification of the souls, according to the principles that they believe in. You go to China, you go to Buddhist monks, etc. Kung Fu or Karate, Kung Fu especially. Kung Fu is not built on only martial arts by hand. No, it is also a discipline of the soul. So you'll find when you go to the mountains of Tibet, etc., you'll find that these monks, they exercise this purification of the souls from a very small age, to the extent that later on they are able to carry out feats that seem to us supernatural. Open Google and you'll find that they're able to reach it through an incorrect way of tahdib al-nafs and controlling the urges. What if you follow the correct path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us? Among the different effects is that the positive effects of the person will have the strength and the courage to admit a mistake. You have done something wrong, you'll be able to admit it. Among the positive effects is that you will not fear death. You have control over these urges of yours. You do not have attachment to this dunya, or to your children, or to your family, etc. Your connection is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have everything in perspective. You know that this world, this dunya is only for a few years. Everybody has to die. You will not be an exception. Nobody is going to remain over here. We've just come here for a short period of time. For a test. This is a test drive. Right? If you are put a car normally in the factory, they take it for a test drive. Correct or not? To make sure everything is working properly. After that, they take it to the showroom for sale. This car, that is me and you, we work properly. Over there, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put us, He will give us the showroom al-Jannah. If not, if there are some problems, our brakes aren't working properly when they should, we have problem in oils or whatever, but over there, you're going to have to go through the factory of al-Barzakh al-Jahannami or Jannah for some work, for some repair work. A person who has controlled these shahawat, he will not fear. His connection is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is, like I said, everything is perspective. In the barzakh, he's not going to fear going to al-barzakh. One of the things that you really like your family, no problem at all. Over there you're going to meet Ahlul Bayt, you're going to meet your ancestors as well. And time in barzakh is not the same as dunya. The blink of an eye in al-barzakh is a few years over here. According to certain accounts from ulama, they mentioned that Fulan al-Fulan passed away and we went to visit his grave. Or a person, he went and saw a certain grave and he saw that person in his dreams. So he asked him, what happened with you? He said that after they left me, they buried me, my a'mal, they came with me, and my good a'mal, they fought with my bad a'mal, and then something, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 happened, and then Munkar and Nakir came, and right now they just left. Yani, how would you say, how long has passed? And I would say a couple of hours. Do you know that this person, it tells that dead person, you have been dead for 70 years. According to certain narrations, that's a person in Barzakh, they will just hug their spouse, okay? When they just hug them for a period of time, all of a sudden they will find that, oh my God, the day of Qiyam has already come. So time has a totally different meaning over there. I will mention just 1 or 2 more things, and inshallah I will end with that. Among the things is that when this person who has done tahdhib al-nafs, he takes control over a team, a community, whatever, that the traits of this person and their policies and the way that they deal with people, they will affect and they will trickle down to the community itself as well. They will trickle down to the people. You will find in certain accounts it is mentioned that if you find that a town of a mu'mineen, a community is good, they are mu'mineen, they are pious, not that their alim is pious. Not that their alim deen is as-sad. إِذَا صَلُحَ الْعَالِمْ صَلُحَ الْعَالَمْ. Correct? There will also be unity among people, and that human being, he will be able to stay on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Inshallah, tomorrow I will end this topic by talking about some of the factors that lead a person to not control their urges, so that we can know and so that we can exercise this control. We can know the problems and the dangers or the holes that are waiting for us on the path. And in addition to that, I will now explain some of the negative effects of blindly following our urges in a haram way. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, may grant us this tawfiq to stay away from that which He has deemed impermissible. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, accept our amal and forgive our sins. Grant us tawfiq to remain on Sirat al-Mustaqim. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.